is wicked.
Yeah.
This is such a wicked story.
Yeah.
Except that in this, Glinda is actually evil.
Welcome to Inchworm,
The podcast in which we're inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
and I'm Ted.
In this chapter, we get to find out what really makes Jenny upset.
Hive 5.3. Yes, it is the worst chapter of Worm.
For
Asterisk
Jenny!
For Jenny.
I'm gonna say, so far.
So far, yeah.
I suspect it's a microcosm of things that are gonna make me really, really mad.
That is an interesting prediction, but we shouldn't do any predictions before we tell listeners what happened in the episode.
Ugh, fine.
So-
I'll put my outrage on hold.
Should we summarize? I think it's my turn.
That sounds right.
In this chapter, there was a long squeal of feedback over the mall intercom. Somebody at the mall is announcing that curfew is in order tonight. It is Sunday evening in Brockton Bay, and Danny and Taylor are at the mall.
Yeah.
They're shopping. Taylor just went shopping a week ago, but this feels different because it's her dad. She's getting some books. She's getting a new backpack. And she's thinking a little bit about what's been going on in Brockton Bay at large.
Which has affected them all.
Bakuda's bombing run has been ongoing, and in response, the Protectorate is deploying superheroes to the mall to make people feel safer, as well as some, military or other kind of security presence. And a lot of the shops in the mall are offering huge sales to encourage people to get out there and practice commerce, despite the fact that anywhere you go at any
You
time,
might be bombed.
you could be bombed by Bakuda. So it seems like that situation's not out of control. And right now, as they are gearing up to leave the mall, there are two capes here, Battery and Shadow Stalker, both of whom we've heard a bit. We've heard a little more about Shadow Stalker before, but first time seeing them on the page, which is exciting. Taylor gives us a bit of a detailed rundown on Battery, which we can circle back to later, and we get a little bit of a recap of Shadow Stalker's origin story, that she was a vigilante that agreed to join the wards, and that she's Gru's self-declared nemesis. She's supposed to be using non-lethal weapons, but according to Gru and Lisa, she isn't. And Taylor has a bit of a reaction of like, they seem like capes, but I realize they're just people, right? She's becoming a little bit disillusioned or normalized to this idea.
She's seeing through the capes.
Yeah. And who should they run into as they're leaving the mall? But Alan Barnes and his daughter,
Father of Emma.
Emma. Danny and Alan have very friendly small talk. Emma says hi to Taylor, and Taylor says nothing back. And under the small talk, Taylor sees Emma smile. Mm-hmm. And it's the same smile that she's seen before that implies to Taylor that something horrible is about to happen. The same smile that she saw before she said that really mean stuff about her mom a few arcs ago. And in response to this, Taylor punches Emma in the face.
Or does she? Go on.
Oh, interesting. We'll circle back to that as well. But she doesn't even realize what she's doing. Emma is surprised. Danny is aghast. And before anyone involved can do something, Shadow Stalker grabs Taylor and basically holds her back, saying, hey, this girl is unstable. You, man in charge of this girl, you got to keep her under control. These people here in this mall are all afraid. You can't do stuff like this. It's going to cause panic. Taylor wants to try and justify the attack, but gets, again, cut off by Shadow Stalker. Basically, they de-escalate the situation where Taylor and Danny agree to leave. Shadow Stalker says, be grateful your dad isn't going to have to post bail for you. Danny apologizes to Alan and says, I'm sorry, it's the concussion. And Taylor gets led away, feeling terrible. Emma gets lifted off the ground by Shadow Stalker. Taylor and Danny go back to the car. And Danny's like, I'm not mad. And Taylor finally feels that she has to tell Danny now about who is behind the bullying. If she doesn't, she never will. She says, it's Emma. It's her from the beginning. She starts to cry. She says, stupid head injury, stupid mood swings. And Danny pulls over and comforts Taylor as she cries.
Yeah.
And that's the chapter.
Yeah. Terrible stuff. I was just so mad. I mean, at Emma and at Shadow Stalker, who, like, what a little jerk. I'm going to say there seems to be a hero worship problem about superheroes in general. And there's also a state-sanctioned violence problem. And, like, you know, you can say, like, okay, well, maybe it's a good indicator of, like, ability to handle power, that, like, you're volunteering to use it for good. But volunteering to use your power for the state to help control the citizenry is not necessarily a sign of being a great person who should be entrusted with this level of authority. On the other hand, it's not like cops in the military get any more screening. So we kind of just have an all state-sanctioned violence is bad problem here, and in our world, unfortunately. I would say, like, maybe some of the hero capes are okay, but also maybe ACAB. All capes are bastards.
Yeah, wow. That is a very hot take. Tough to disagree with. Definitely agree with you that Shadow Stalker is a bastard.
Yes. Well, and Shadow Stalker does have a unique past that really would make us suspect she might be worse than the other people in the Wards program, where she didn't want to be in the Wards program. I mean, she did apparently want to be like an independent hero, I guess, vigilante style. But she had to join the Wards program because she went too far with violence against some, I guess, a villain, and killed them, maybe, or almost killed them, and was forced to join the Wards or go to prison, I guess.
I think it wasn't necessarily against another powered villain. It might have been against criminals.
Okay, all right. It was against a bad guy, kind of. Yeah. So she, in particular, might be bad, but I bet that she's going to be emblematic in a lot of ways of the Protectorate and Wards as institutions.
Well,
and it's not great.
I do want to,
Taylor, don't become a cop.
I think those are all very good larger points that maybe we could, like, circle back to. But I want to hear more about your specific outrage in this chapter and, like, when you started getting upset.
I'm so mad that what Emma has done to Taylor is invisible. And what Taylor is doing to Emma here, we'll get into that a little bit. What Taylor seems to be doing to Emma here is very visible and immediately gets her cracked down upon when the system has done nothing to defend her from the incredible trauma that has been inflicted on her by Emma.
Yeah.
And, of course, Emma comes out of this looking even better and getting to be helped by a hero. And, of course, this is how it's going to go, right? Like, this is foreshadowing for how it's going to go when Emma becomes, when Emma is a cape. And it's going to really suck because Taylor isn't going to be able to prove anything. And it's a good thing that she's a villain now and can at least get her villain friends to help her get revenge, I hope.
Nice.
I think Emma made Taylor hit her.
Interesting.
It's not conclusive because there is the head injury thing, and we specifically saw at the end of the last arc, Tattletale told Taylor, like, your inhibitions are going to be off. But
you wanted to see some slightly less guarded behavior from Taylor.
That is true.
That's really true.
Here. But she doesn't even seem to know she's hitting Emma.
Yeah.
The way it's described, so she's talking about, like, the smile, like the same smile she'd had when she'd done all these other things. Then the next paragraph, the sound of the impact was like a splash of water in my face. I felt a twinge of pain from that gouge one of Bitch's dogs had made in my arm when I first met her, still sore. Hasn't been that long. Emma fell over. There were gasps. Taylor, my dad cried out, aghast. My hand was stinging, outstretched in front of me like I was reaching out to shake someone's hand. It took me a second to connect the dots. I'd hit her? So Taylor had a concussion a week ago. She seems to be doing pretty okay. She's up and about. I'm sure she's still affected by the concussion. But, like, it's not like a concussion stops you from having any control over your body or from knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it is possible that this is just sort of, the narrative is presenting it in an interesting way. Like, her rage was such that she couldn't control herself and it took her over and she hit Emma without her conscious mind really intending it. It's possible this is just dramatic license.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
Yeah.
But we've already been on Cape Emma watch. And this does play out so well for Emma. They're in a crowd. There's police presence. Their parents are there. Emma's dad is there. This is such a good way to make Taylor look like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And to get the attention of a hero, which Emma seems to want. It would make perfect sense for Emma to make Taylor do this, especially if her power, it's not super noticeable that it's being used, maybe. If that's true, I guess it would be something a little like Alex, but maybe with a lot more control, like sort of a puppetry, puppetmaster power, which we'd sort of talked about, but more in the sense of like emotions and loyalty and like wanting people to follow her. We hadn't really talked about it in terms of physical puppetry.
But there is a very emotionally charged component that Taylor's going through here.
That is true.
Well.
That is true. So I feel like this is Emma using her power on Taylor. I'm not sure why. Like, I don't feel like this would explain why she's chosen Taylor as a victim. I don't know that we need it to explain what's going on at school. Like, Emma could just have all these followers because she's beautiful and popular. You know, she doesn't need to be controlling them. And she doesn't seem to have been controlling Taylor at school. Like, Taylor seems to have been in control of herself in all their encounters.
Yeah.
Though she did start crying in a way that, like, maybe that's out of character. I'm not sure that we've seen her cry in other ways.
Yeah.
That might have been Emma
exacerbating
also, something.
Right. But the concussion is also a good explanation.
The concussion is also... Oh, no, I mean back when Emma mentioned her mom obliquely.
Oh, I thought you meant crying in this chapter.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, no, crying at the end of this chapter I feel like is just her. But when she started crying in front of the, like, 9 girls that were bullying her, that was a little out of character for her. I think it could be explained by Emma's words, but I don't think it's against the text in any way to say that maybe Emma actually was acting upon her in some way.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the other girls said, "Wow, Emma, it's like you have a superpower."
Well, I'll propose something to corroborate your theory, and then also a connection that I was making. There's a possibility here that maybe it's not a regent-like power. Maybe it's purely an emotional manipulation power.
Well, that could be,
and it's sort of a, like, if Taylor was ready to throw a punch. Though, having you reread that, I actually think it was a slap. The sort of, like...
It was a slap, yeah.
So, honestly, the fact that it's a slap, if Shadow Stalker saw it, that makes Shadow Stalker's reaction even more...
that's true.
Over the top.
One teenage girl slapping another is a little like, you don't arrest someone for that.
For sure. Yeah, so if it's sort of the way in, like, one of the powers you can have in the Mistborn stories is rioting or soothing emotions. So if she's like an emotional rioter, like Taylor's already ready, she's pretty trigger happy. And so if Emma has a power that's like, I'm going to turn that dial all the way up to just sort of like, you know, make her slap me, that would also be something that kind of makes sense. But the connection that I made was to a point where Emma was not involved. She calls back to when the wound that she had from the fight with Bitch. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that was so notable about reading that was when she realizes that she has no reason to hold back, she's halfway across the room ready to beat her up before she knows what she's doing. And it was a very similar kind of like, I was acting faster than I could rationalize it. Mm-hmm. This moment does have the little, like, I'm bewildered afterward.
I hit her? Question mark.
Right. So I want to make the connection there. This could be a more extreme version of that.
Right, there is brain damage involved.
It was notable to me, though, that we were calling back to that moment. So it's a really good theory.
I think that's all to give us plausible deniability, because Taylor doesn't conclude, wow, Emma made me hit her. She has a superpower. And I don't think as readers we're supposed to conclude that from this chapter, but that's what I think is going on.
You know, there's an interesting theory here as well, that what if it's too much, right? If Emma's just like, if I smile smugly enough and shittily enough at Taylor, could I provoke her into attacking me in front of a cop? Like,
I don't think she'd have any reason to think Taylor would do that based on Taylor's extreme passivity for the last year and a half. Yeah.
Emma's good, but she's not that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that if she didn't use a power on Taylor, this is just a happy bonus landing in her lap that Taylor acted like this.
Absolutely.
But okay, let's say that Emma does have a power and did use it to make Taylor slap her. We get this stark contrast between the two of them. They both have powers that are supposed to be secret from each other. Emma's using hers a lot. Ooh. On Taylor, on people who are tormenting Taylor. She doesn't have the kind of restraint that Taylor has shown. So in a way, you could say, like, she's getting sloppy about it. Taylor will figure it out long before Emma figures out Taylor's power, probably, if she keeps it up like this. But also, I don't know that Taylor will be able to use that to her advantage.
Yeah.
I think that so much is stacked against Taylor, and Emma is someone who's really trying to ruin Taylor's life. Taylor is not trying to ruin Emma's life because Taylor is fundamentally a good person.
Yeah.
Taylor has sort of put together, like, okay, there's nothing bad I could do to these people that would make them stop tormenting me. Therefore, there's no point in doing anything bad to them. Which, like, when Alec was talking to her at Fugly Bob's, was like, no, but you could do all these bad things to them. And Taylor's like, no, there's no point. They would just take it out on me. But they would take it out on me is, like, a weak reason not to do it. The real reason is that, like, I mean, there are a few reasons. She doesn't want to bring her powers into that world. But she just isn't vindictive in that way. Like, if she wanted to destroy Emma, she could figure out how to do it. She could bring the Undersiders in on it. But, like, she doesn't want to destroy people. She just wants to not be tormented by them. She hasn't put them in a category of, these are villains and need to be stopped.
That's a great point. And you're just making me realize that, like, the desire for revenge is, like, so human and something that everybody feels. It's like an emotional good to, like, see justice done, in particular to see someone get their revenge or whatever.
Yeah, I want Emma to be destroyed and killed.
But I think also that sort of, like, Taylor's right, that, like, revenge isn't actually, like, morally good in almost any circumstance. You need there to be some other reason or some other, it needs to be in some other framework, right? So it's a really, it is kind of a testament to her core moral instinct that she's like, you know, at least resisting for now the desire just to get revenge, which, like, everyone, especially us as readers, is like, come on, Taylor.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially as readers, you really want that. So I just put together something. We had been talking about whether Taylor is gettable by the Undersiders to, like, overtly, will you join with us and renounce your plan to betray us to the Protectorate? I'm starting to think they might not actually find out about her plan to betray them, because I think she's going to drop it on her own. I think what's going to get her is Emma joining the wards.
Yeah.
Because that is going to show her, like, oh, they're not good guys.
Right.
Like, if Emma is one of them, if they're embracing Emma, then definitionally they are not good guys, because Emma is the worst person I know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that is what will show her that the Protectorate is hollow. I would love to see her, so Emma joins the wards. Taylor, who has this tenuous connection to Armsmaster, is like, oh no, Emma can't be a ward that's awful for the world. I need to tell Armsmaster what she's done to me. And she tries to tell Armsmaster, and Armsmaster's like, it's just some stupid kid stuff. Like, that's just school stuff. I don't care about this. Like, right. And also, like, what are you doing with this villain gang? You're a villain now. Shut up.
Yeah.
And that's when Taylor's like, wow, they're not actually good people. They don't care about goodness, justice, what's right, treating people well. I can't be on their side. I'm going to stay on the side that likes me and supports me.
Right.
And, you know, maybe I can try to make them do better things, but joining the Protectorate won't make me someone who does good things either.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a little bit, the wards aren't exactly the Protectorate, but in theory, you know, you graduate from one to the other. Yeah.
And of course, if Emma emerges on the scene as a hero, the Protectorate will probably embrace her publicly, and there'll be some great photo shoots with everyone together or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be so painful to Taylor to see that. And it would make her feel like she had to take action, and then it wouldn't work because the system loves Emma because the system is not good. Taylor wants to be a good person in support of the system, but the system's not good, so she can't really have what she wants. What she wants doesn't exist.
Yeah. Pretty damning. And I mean, the heroes we've gotten to know have all been kind of awful. I mean, the wards were okay. But, like...
Yeah, Shadow Stalker wasn't there.
Yeah. Shadow
she
Stalker,
seems like the worst
good.
one, potentially.
No good.
We do see Battery in this chapter. We don't really see her do anything.
Yeah,
Taylor thinks that Battery's the kind of hero that she herself would want to be. Like, she's nice and respectful and, you know, good to even reporters who are assholes to her. There's also the really weird detail that I found very intriguing that, so Assault and Battery are kind of a duo. And apparently it's not clear whether Assault is Battery's brother or boyfriend or both.
This is a truly cursed piece of gossip.
Right. It's just this, like, weird, like some like subculture of like Cape fans have this theory where actually assault and battery are both siblings and boyfriend girlfriend.
Inquiries had been met with coy deflections.
But that is so weird. Like, why wouldn't you tell someone if this person is your brother or your boyfriend?
Is there like a rule against dating if you're both in the protectorate together? Right.
You'd think they would want them to have kids who can then have powers. I feel like, because, okay, even if they are both siblings and dating, which I don't think is probably the case, but if that were true, you would pick one. You'd be like, yeah, we're siblings, because that's the safer story, because if people can look it up and it's true. And you would act like siblings, and then in private you can do whatever you want. Or you would say, like, yes, we're lovers, and, like, just never telling anyone that you're siblings. You would give a clear answer. One of those is much more
risky than the other.
Yes, but, like, you would give a clear answer. You wouldn't deflect coyly. So I feel like the real answer must be a lot weirder.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true, right. If the incest allegations are not something you feel the need to be defensive about, maybe you're covering up something else.
Right. There's got to be something weirder going on.
If it's true, it doesn't bother Taylor. She thinks Battery's a good person, just based on the way she handles herself in the media. So that's
I think Taylor doesn't think it's true. Which I don't either.
The soap opera
Again,
paparazzi
if it were
style.
true, they would do a better job denying it.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to deny that.
It's a truly cursed and insane allegation, and a very funny detail. Did you enjoy learning about Battery's power?
Yeah, it was cool.
Her power let her charge up as she stood still and concentrated, with every second spent charging, giving her a few seconds of greatly enhanced speed, some extra strength, and some electromagnetic powers. So she does charge up her own power.
Mm-hmm.
And her costume is white and dark gray and cobalt blue, like a circuit board design.
She's like a hybrid car where, I mean, I guess it's not standing still, but where, like, you go down hills and you build up power and then you can use it later. Which, you know, they work with batteries. That makes sense.
Yeah. But, sadly, Battery is not, or perhaps better for Taylor, I don't know, Battery is not the person who intervenes. Instead, we get Shadow Stalker.
Battery would have handled it better, probably, because Shadow Stalker seems particularly deranged. But also, maybe Battery wouldn't have intervened?
Right. That actually might have been the right thing to do. Well, yeah, so Shadow Stalker. We're seeing her on the page for the first time. Impressions?
She gets off on her authority. And she likes showing off her power. Taylor watches her walk through the wall, like walk into the mall through the door.
Yeah, she's showing off, and Taylor's like, that's unnecessary.
I wouldn't have done that in her position, yeah.
And that's like, I trust Taylor. Like, she's very practical. Like, I think...
Yeah, yes. She's like, she could have just gone through the doors like a normal person.
Yeah, yeah.
Sort of this gratuitous power use is showy, and not only does she intervene to calm things down, which, like... You could defend that. Like, okay, you see a physical altercation in this crowd, which is very densely packed and, like, you know, emotions are high. Maybe you do intervene. But then, you know, Taylor tries to say something and Shadow Stalker doesn't let her talk.
Yeah.
And then ties her hands too tight with a plastic zip tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't have a lot of care for the people she's subduing. She seems to... I mean, she gets off on it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, actually, in, like, a sexual way, but, like, she's too into it.
Yeah, she struck me as very pompous, showy. Scolded is the word that we get. This is not the time or place for arguments. If your daughter is this unwell, then that's your responsibility.
I like how she sort of has a British accent.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
No, I liked it, though. Yeah, I mean, she...
Yeah, no arguments, no excuses. We're breaking this up now.
And I love how Taylor sees through that. She's like, she's just a teenage girl. Because Taylor is also a cape. And she's like, I'm not special. Like, I know that you're not special. You just have a power.
Yeah.
And that makes everyone treat you as though you have this authority. But really, all that happens is that you had something bad happen to you.
Yeah.
And that gave you a power.
Yeah, and now you're wearing a funny costume.
Yeah, exactly.
There are a couple of quotes, since we're talking about that I wanted to pull out. There's one earlier in the chapter, when she first sees Battery and Shadow Stalker. Capes always seem so much bigger and more impressive on the news. Once you look past the dark gray urban camouflage hood and cape and the black painted metal of her mask, Shadow Stalker was still just a teenage girl, only about as tall as me.
Battery's like 2 inches taller. I do think I would love for Wildbow to weigh in on this. I feel like at least while writing this, Wildbow was under the impression that a 15-year-old and a 22-year-old like woman would be different heights because a 15-year-old would obviously continue growing, which is just not true. I mean, occasionally a woman will grow after 15 height-wise, but like, no.
Yeah, much less likely.
Height is not correlated to age for teenage girls after the age of like 14.
Yeah, definitely not. Well, yeah, I mean, it's different for boys.
Yeah. Guys tend to have their growth spurt much later.
Yeah.
But I feel like most girls are the height they're going to be by like freshman year of high school.
Yeah. Right, that came up before with Taylor and Lisa.
Yeah, where she's a little older, so she's a little taller. And I was like, no, that's not, no.
Yeah. But the other part later is right after that pompous lecture. I felt like laughing. Part of it was just being giddy at doing something to get back at Emma. The other part was that this whole scenario was so ridiculously upside down. Shadow Stalker wasn't really anything special. She was just a teenage girl lecturing my dad, an adult. Yeah. The crowd that was watching was seeing Emma as the victim, me as the bad guy. But if you stripped away the costume, if everyone knew the real story, this would all be playing out so
That's
differently.
The thing. No one's ever going to know the real story.
Emma would be the bad guy, and my dad wouldn't be so conciliatory about this girl telling him off.
Yeah.
This is going a long way. I mean, we were just talking about the role that sort of Taylor's decision to like, I'm going to be a hero one day. I'm going to be in the protectorate. Like, it's this idealized future that she's chasing.
Yeah.
This is another step to having that kind of dissolve into smoke before her eyes, right? Mm-hmm. It's just the like realizing they're just people in costumes.
Yeah.
People are people. No matter how high into the, you know, like the elite strata of society you get, they're still just people, right?
Yeah.
You know, like
it's all going to be her disillusionment.
Yeah,
with,
and it like it's not even. She's not even particularly disillusioned in like Battery or Shadow Stalker at the beginning. She's just starting to realize,
like, oh, they're just kind of normal.
Oh yeah, I like me. You know, like I know how many
she's
problems
disillusioned, sort of in a literal sense,
exactly.
Where like there is this illusion that they're larger than life, and she's like, oh no, they're just normal sized. Oh, they're normal people like me.
Yeah.
And she still kind of thinks if people knew the real story, they'd see it differently. And I think the journey she's going to go on is realizing, or at least one of the early steps of it, is realizing like, oh, people will never know the real story. People will never believe the real story. People don't want the real story because they like their heroes.
Yeah.
And once Emma is a superhero, no one wants to know anything bad about her. They want to be able to worship her. She's beautiful. She's inspiring. Like, it's great to have her as this symbol of order and justice and goodness.
Yeah.
We were talking, you and I, about what musicals the Undersiders would like, and you said that Lisa would love Wicked. I think Taylor would love Wicked. This is Wicked.
Yeah.
This is such a Wicked story.
Yeah.
Except that in this, Glinda is actually evil.
Yeah. Definitely we should return on an ongoing basis to what musicals the Undersiders like, just so that we can talk about the musicals that we like. But this thing that she thinks here, this like, well, if they knew the real story, she then tries to act on it. And she does this amazing thing where she wants to finally tell Danny everything.
Yeah.
I pointed at Emma, turned to my dad. You want to know why I hit her? Right? She's up on her soapbox.
Yeah.
Ready to just try and like win over. And if anyone is going to believe the story, it's going to be Danny, right?
We're going to talk about Danny.
And Shadow Stalker just totally shuts that down.
Heroes getting in the way of the truth coming out.
Yeah. So
it's going to be a theme. Yeah. We're going to see it a lot, and I'm going to hate it every time. I'm going to be so mad.
I'm stopping this right here. No arguments, no excuses. Yeah.
But Danny believes her when she tells him later. He is so great. Every time we see Danny, I just love him more.
Yeah.
So first of all, we have this conversation with Alan Barnes, and it's such a parents of kids who used to be friends conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where they're like, yeah, we still like each other. We get along. Such a shame we haven't seen each other in a while.
Absolutely.
Like, we should have a barbecue.
I know.
And it is like, when you're kids, like, I don't really know this from the parent side yet, because Violet's too young for that, but like, having grown up a kid, your friendships can change so fast, but, like, of course your parents still know each other and, like each other fine. Like, you guys didn't have this intense friendship, you know, you were just, like, hanging out when you dropped each other, you know, your kids off.
And I sort of forget, because since they were best friends, they were doing weekends at each other's houses. Yeah. Of course Danny and Alan go way back. It's just only been the past few years that this sort of...
It's like the past year and a half, 2 years. Yeah. So they're just having this great conversation. And you know that Danny thinks well of Emma. It's like, oh yeah, this is like, they seem to not be close anymore, but
right.
Emma seems great. And then even before he hears any of Taylor's side, they get in the car and he's like, I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I know that you're going through this head injury and Emma reminds you of stuff at school. And then when Taylor tells him, she sort of half tells him, she's like, more than you know, that Emma reminds her. And he's like, what? She says, it's her. It's Emma. And he says, what? And she doesn't explain. She just lets him figure it out. And he gets there.
He says, oh, yeah.
He figures out that she means that Emma has been doing the bullying. He doesn't ask any questions. He doesn't cast any doubt. He's just there for her.
Yeah.
And he pulls over to let her cry, even though, like, he could be feeling time pressure.
Well,
and
it's also, right, it's the, we got to be home before the curfew subtext. We have to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And Danny says, it's fine. We have time. Take as long as you need.
Danny's going to be her ally, and it's going to be amazing. I know that might not happen, but I feel like the seeds are all there.
Yeah.
Because Danny understands that some things are more important than the rules.
Yeah.
I think he would be really hesitant to risk the life that they have and sort of the within the system okayness that they're, you know, managing to hold on to right now, especially like as a parent, he would feel responsibility to maintain that. But I don't think he would put that above the principles that both he and Taylor believe in and his care for Taylor and wanting to see her be well treated.
Yeah.
And I think if he were to see Emma join the wards, join the protectorate, I mean, it would be years before she joined the protectorate, but if he were to see that, I don't think it would be that big a leap for him to come over to Taylor's point of view. Yeah. I think he would be more cautious about it than her. I mean, grown-ups are more cautious than kids about that kind of thing usually. Yeah. But I think he would come through for her.
I also think he might not be mad at Taylor now, but I suspect he's going to be mad after he sleeps on this revelation about who the bullies were.
Mad at Taylor?
Mad at Emma.
Oh, well, yes.
And Alan.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like it'll rekindle that.
Oh, you know, I mean, he's
so
probably already mad about it, but he's not showing it at all because he has such a good grasp of his temper. Like, he is prioritizing what Taylor needs in the moment over his emotional needs to express any anger.
Yeah.
Because he's so, like, we saw in his interlude how hard he works to control that.
Yeah. And he's maybe, like, a little oversensitive with leading with, I'm not mad. Like, he's worried that he seems mad, you know.
That's a great point. I didn't think of that. Yeah, he's a little...
Or he is a little mad and he's denying
he's like,
it because
okay, I
that's the right
shouldn't
thing
be
to
mad.
do. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm not going to present as mad. And actually, you know, no, I don't think he is mad at Taylor.
I don't think so either.
I think he probably is mad at Emma once he gets the story. But I don't think... What Taylor did, I don't think that would make him mad.
Yeah.
Threatening his people is the thing that really makes him mad.
Yeah. Now, do you have any other impressions of Alan?
He seemed mostly like a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't think I had anything more nuanced than that. Like, he didn't seem like he was very proud of Emma's modeling career, but he didn't seem like he was rubbing their faces in her success or anything. Like, he very quickly changed the subject to like, but that's not why we're here. She just couldn't resist the sales. And he seems to genuinely be like, oh yeah, I would love to reconnect with you. Like, you know, probably he's not like...
Yeah, he knows what Danny cares about, the docs, and is asking questions about it.
Yeah, they seem to have a really balanced, like, oh, it's nice to see you. Sad we haven't seen each other lately. Like, no one's trying to, like, one-up the other.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he was trying to be snide in any way. Yeah, did you have anything you wanted to point out?
Well, there's just this one line. Where it's after the slap, after Taylor's been apprehended originally. What was that for? Alan protested. Emma didn't even say anything. Which, to me, is a really specific response. That, like, to me it implies a little bit of, like, oh, well, like, yeah, if Emma had, like, said something mean, like I know that she tends to say, that could provoke a response, right? There's a little bit, like, was he sort of, is he aware?
He suggests that maybe Danny should keep Taylor home from school.
Ooh, yeah.
Which is a protective measure from Emma.
Yeah, but...
It's also possible he's like, I don't want Taylor going to school and beating up Emma. But it's also possible that he means, I don't want Taylor going to school and getting bullied by Emma.
Well, yeah, I don't know. To me, I was just like, does Alan know maybe that either Emma is kind of a mean girl and might, in a teenage sense of the word, deserve to get slapped sometimes. But is Alan aware, either just because of her personality or because he knows about the bullying in some detail, that there could be a reason why Taylor would retaliate?
I'd be surprised if he knew about the bullying in detail. Just why would he know about that? I think Emma's probably better at keeping secrets than that. But I bet he does have some sense of her character. It's hard to hide that kind of thing from your parents, I think. I bet he can tell, okay, Emma and Taylor aren't friends anymore. Taylor doesn't seem to have friends, whereas Emma does have friends and is kind of ruling the social roost. I wouldn't be surprised
if Emma's wow, Taylor sucks. She sucks so much, over the dinner table.
Yeah, and I bet Alan can kind of see through that. But I bet he thinks it's just oh yeah, kids can be a little mean to each other.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, you know a lot more than I do, so maybe maybe you're not reading into things. But, I do think, Emma didn't even say anything. It would be why would you slap someone? Oh, probably because they said something mean, but Emma didn't even say anything. Yeah, it might just be an innocuous comment.
Yeah, I feel like it's a stretch that I'm reading into here, but I did want to...
I wonder why you're stretching for that.
I did want to call it out. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. My reaction was, wait, does he know? But I think it's a little bit of a stretch.
Okay.
I had one other sort of Emma bit I wanted to read, which we sort of alluded to a little bit. I felt worse at being let off like a criminal, while Shadow Stalker gave Emma a hand to help her up. Emma was beaming, smiling one of the widest smiles I'd seen her give, despite the red mark on the side of her face. Smiling as much at the way things had turned out, I imagined, as she was at getting the chance to talk with the concerned superheroine. Yeah, I wanted to connect this back to the thing you were saying about, hero worship.
Oh, yeah.
And the sort of not just proving a point in the larger Taylor versus Emma saga, but also that there's this moment where Emma gets to be showered with concern by this fantasy hero character, the type of person that probably Taylor,
that's why she made
6
Taylor
months
slap
ago,
her.
would have been
oh yeah,
oh my gosh, a hero's helping little old me.
And
I don't know, well, this is making me think, this sort of big smile at a hero thing. Do you feel like that fits or doesn't fit with the Emma secretly a cape thing? Because this seems a little bit more
that is a little more I'm a normal person who wants to be in
but maybe this
circles.
Is also when I join the wards next month, we'll be BFFs,
Yeah. Although, actually, if she's planning to join the wards, then it would be a big mistake to have used her power on Taylor with Shadow Stalker there.
That's true.
Because if Shadow Stalker finds out she has this power to, I don't know, manipulate emotions or whatever, then she'll be oh, so when that girl slapped you out of nowhere,
that's a great
was
point.
That you?
That's a great point.
I mean, but Shadow Stalker probably wouldn't care. She'd be you were probably doing it for a good reason.
But yeah, and Emma doesn't know that Shadow Stalker wouldn't care. There are a few different variables.
Yeah. I see your point.
Not to pour water or,
No, because I think Emma's also a good actress. If she did this on purpose, she was also faking her surprise, which was very convincingly done, apparently.
Yeah.
So, she's also, I think Emma is thrilled at the success of her plan if she did this on purpose. So she would be smiling like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of villains being terrible people, so we hear about, assault and battery as, a pair and, cool names. Battery is a great name for what she does. Who the heck is I'm going to be a hero. I'm going to choose the cape name Assault. What were you thinking?
I mean...
I'm going to choose Harassment.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if you're we don't know the order they joined the Protectorate. If you're dating Battery, maybe it's funny,
Right, especially if they're siblings, I guess that makes a little more sense.
Yeah, but, I mean, there are also, it's not as bad as Harassment.
No, that's true.
It could be very military.
A frontal assault on this building or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's true.
The war on terror, right?
The war on Taylor.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a war on Taylor, led by Emma, with all these supposedly good guys lining up behind Emma, because in fact the institutions are not good.
I really thought it was telling when Shadow Stalker is saying, she's proven to be volatile in a powder keg situation. It's dangerous and stupid to have her here. Taylor responds,
you, Shadow Stalker?
I'm not dangerous, I protested. Didn't look like it to me. Shadow Stalker shook her head. But just Taylor's truth of, I am not this thing. And Shadow Stalker being I don't care what you are. It's about what
you look like. I care how I perceive you.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I'm going to connect it to something else. The whole setup here, the larger context of them being at the mall is, we went to the mall because, it's rough times in the city and consumption is down. People aren't buying things. There are sales. So we're going to the mall and but people don't feel safe. So we have this security theater. Taylor directly connects it to the TSA and airport security, which got way, beefed up after 9/11. And the point of security theater is to make people feel safe. It's not to actually provide
Right, because what are they going to do if Bakuda sets off a bomb?
Right. And it is really clear, subtextually it's true, but I think it's really clear just from the description of what Bakuda is doing is that there is no guarantee of safety.
No, definitely.
Right? So the presence of capes is just to make people feel good enough to kind of show up, and is I think to some of the larger thematic stuff you're getting at, heroes aren't actually doing any good here, right? They're just here to make people feel better. They're not doing what Taylor would value, which is going out and stopping the ABB. Right?
Right.
And there's no description of what the heroes and the military are doing against the ABB.
There. Yeah.
No, I mean larger.
Oh, no, that's
and
true.
Why it's working or not working. Right? It's basically just the city is being terrorized by Bakuda, and as far as we can see, there's a curfew and capes are showing up at places of business. Right? That's the response that we get on the page. I'm sure they are doing more, but it really says a lot that it's not there's been fights back and forth between, Arms Master and Bakuda over the past few days.
Places.
They almost caught Lung again, but then he got away. There's none of that, at least that we see on the page here. So to me, it's maybe the security theater, maybe that's what they really value at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's why Shadow Stalker has to shut down Taylor, because she seems like a threat. It doesn't matter if she is or isn't a threat. It's all about what things seem like in this security theater. Now, do you think that Bakuda is terrorizing the town with the end game of getting Brockton Bay renamed Bokton Bay for Bakuda?
I love that.
Okay, well, I hope you love it when she takes over.
Yeah, Bokton Bay. I mean, might as well call it Bokton, because point of order on Massachusetts geography.
Yeah.
Weymouth. This is the Weymouth Mall. Also, south of Boston, next to the actual Brockton, not north of Boston, like Brockton Bay.
But maybe Weymouth is north of Boston in this reality, like Brockton Bay.
So who turned Massachusetts upside down?
Bakuda.
It's so
no,
confusing.
it must have been Vista.
Or maybe the Weymouth Mall is in Brockton. It's very confusing. But now I'm expecting them to go to Hingham next. It's very confusing.
Get on the commuter rail in Quincy.
Yeah. For the record, I'm perfectly happy with totally fake, made-up Massachusetts geography. It doesn't diminish the story in any
definitely.
way. It does remind me, of course, that they all presumably have towny accents.
We should be reading them like that.
Yeah. I don't have a very good Boston
Emma
accent.
has trained hers out.
Yeah.
I also don't have a good Boston accent. So I did want to just mention the larger picture here. So we do know that Bakuda and the ABB have continued to bomb lots of places around town. It's mentioned that, malls are a place that's risky because it's a high concentration of people. Schools are also mentioned. I don't know if Taylor's about to go back to school, but it would be very interesting if the school got bombed.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know where that would go, but if she had to use bugs in a rescue effort or something, that would, she'd have to figure out how to balance that with her civilian life. Yeah,
and we know the wards are in the other school.
That's true, yeah. Actually, if there were a bombing and Taylor started using her bugs to help, she would be perceived as a villain because people would know she was Skitter.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they wouldn't let her help, and she'd be like, ugh, this is the worst. And why is reputation so important? And then she would go buy the Taylor Swift album, which unfortunately isn't out till 2017. So.
I don't want to underrate that if you're being bombed and suddenly bugs are quote-unquote helping, that, I don't want to underrate that that's going to come off as scary.
I think it would be to find the survivors, that kind of thing.
Yes. No, I know.
Can you imagine?
You just get... Your classroom was bombed. You survived.
And then it's full of bugs.
Yeah. You're like getting out through the rubble and ash and smoke, and suddenly bugs are crawling all over you. And Taylor's there being like, I'm helping. Not very persuasive.
Okay, but now I'm imagining Taylor, her school is bombed. She has her costume in her backpack. She changes into her costume. She goes up to whatever protectorate members are helping. It's not Armsmaster. She says, like, yo, I want to help with the rescue efforts. I know you think I'm a villain. I'm really just in disguise as a villain. Armsmaster knows. Please let me help. They're like, no, we're arresting you right now. She's like, no, save the bombing victims. And they're like, no, you're our priority. And she's like, ugh, I hate everything. Misuse of authority.
Yeah.
It's not quite misuse of authority. It's someone coming off badly in the eyes of authority for reasons that are, specious, but no one's letting them tell the real story. Like, it's getting in trouble when you shouldn't be, is the button for me. And it's Emma getting her in trouble. And it kind of seemed like this incident was over, but we don't know that it is. Like, maybe Emma's going to try to use this specific incident to get Taylor in more trouble. Maybe she's going to try to arrest her for assault.
I completely buy that Emma did have a nasty little idea behind that smile. Like, I totally buy that Taylor was picking up on that correctly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I do want to say, not to defend the over-response from Shadow Stalker or anything, right? Like, especially in the... Like, when I was reading it for whatever reason, I was like, oh yeah, she punched Emma. I was like, it's just a slap, which to me reads really differently.
Right,
Emma
a slap isn't necessarily
ground,
starting a fist fight.
But yeah, I feel like the right thing to do in the situation is like, oh, are they fighting? No, they're not fighting. Come over, say, is there a problem here?
Yeah.
Right, like that's kind of the level of response that feels appropriate.
Especially because they're children.
Exactly. And they both have parental figures here, right? The like finger-wagging pompousness from Shadow Stalker is like...
So obnoxious.
It's
but
really
that's
obnoxious.
What we're going to see from the heroes throughout this book. And I'm going to want to burn them all to the ground.
Yes. There's a part of me reading this that's like, oh no, Taylor. Like, I kind of wish that you had taken action from a more defensible place.
Oh, definitely. Well, I don't think she even did it.
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong.
But to me...
Who's read the entire book? Yep.
No, it's... that's not the point I'm making. It's that she...
Oh, yeah. I mean, she
what I
opened
want
herself
is for
up
her to
it,
just like, to say to her father, do you know what she did to me? Something like that. Like, that would be a much more effective way of getting back than an unprovoked... in a local context, slap, which does seem...
I mean, it's terrible strategy.
Yes.
I don't think that she was responsible for it. I know you can't specifically comment on that.
And it is fair for other people to react as if Taylor's responsible for it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But this is one reason I hate it so much, that, like, Taylor is not good at the appearances game.
Yeah.
And Emma is very good at it. And that's why Emma, who's like the scum of the earth, is going to come off as a hero and Taylor's going to be villainized, even though Taylor's out here trying to do good things and Emma is, one of the two worst people we've seen.
Yeah.
Emma and Kaiser are the two worst people. No, seriously. I mean, like, the other Undersiders are villains, but they're way better than Emma. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the other villains we've seen. Some of them are probably just as bad. But
Emma hasn't killed anyone yet. It's just because she hasn't had the chance.
Emma is worse than Purity, definitely. Like, absolutely. Just because she hasn't, like, adopted the, like, white supremacy mindset does not make her a good person.
I don't know that I agree with you about Emma and Purity, but I think I understand where you're coming from.
Purity seems like someone who cares when the people in her life are treated badly. She has some major flaws, but, like, Emma just seems hateful. Like, she seems like she enjoys making people miserable, and that's all she wants to do.
That's true. I could see the argument that she has a worse personality. I'm thinking more in terms of like the
certainly in terms of the
worst
impact
people
they've
has a much broader.
Purity has had a much worse impact on the world, but that's because Emma's younger and hasn't had as much of an impact.
That's kind of where I'm coming down.
Yeah.
Is that like give Emma 10
give her 10 years. Yeah, exactly.
Empire 88, it should be worse.
I mean, I have no reason to think that Emma will join Empire 88, but again, not being a Nazi does not make you a good person.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, true.
Yeah. I'm not sure I would say that Emma's worse than Kaiser. She seems to be not as bad as Kaiser, but pretty darn bad.
He seems like he has a really bad personality.
He has a bad personality and has had a terrible impact on the world and is a white supremacist. You know, like, just he has no strikes in his favor. Except that he has a cool power, but that's not him being good. That's just him having a cool thing.
I mean, Emma has a cool power.
Exactly. Doesn't make her good. I'm gonna have to make, like, evilness rankings. It's gonna be tough.
There might need to be a quadrant, like, system. Because I think it's tough to put them all on a line.
That's true, it's true. What's the other axis?
Well, we just had, like, impact versus, like, personality.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. I like that. Yeah.
But there could be other dimensions as well.
Yeah. Like, I feel like most of the Undersiders, pretty good on personality.
Yeah.
Impact, not the best. Not as bad as Kaiser, but not the best. Rachel, I think, gets a little ding in personality and a little bump on impact. She's protecting all the dogs of the world.
Yeah. No, that's true. A noble calling. Do you want to say more about, like, why this is a particular button for you, or like...
Oh, I think it's just like growing up with a good girl complex. The idea of authority figures viewing me as bad.
Yeah. Feeling
like a thing that's dangerous and damaging and horrifying to me.
Yeah, like it feels like a real salient threat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, practically speaking, the fact that Shadow Stalker, like, thinks poorly of Taylor doesn't mean anything. Like, nothing's going to happen from that. It does, I think, bode really ill for the rest of the story and how the heroes are going to treat Taylor. But that aside, I feel like my emotional response to Shadow Stalker treating her this way is larger than is merited by the actual threat posed by Shadow Stalker.
Yeah.
And I think reading this, it was just so clear to me that, like, oh, this is how it's going to go with Emma. Like, this is how it has been going. This is how it will go. Like, there's nothing Taylor can do to Emma that will stick and will damage her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Taylor's style just bounces right off of Emma.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, and I thought, going into this, I was definitely expecting you to have a strong reaction to this aspect of the story. Me. Yeah. And I thought maybe it would include a little bit of, like, the Taylor making bad decisions, like the when she's dropping out of school kind of thing. So it was really fun to see that you were, like, so bought in and on her side at that point. Yeah, it's much more about, like, the people who haven't read Worm not having the full story and how unjustly they view
Exactly. They should all be reading it. They should be listening to our podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say, maybe we'll cut this, but just on the question of, like, you knowing me really well, Ted and I were watching a musical a little while back. I'm not going to say which one just because it'll be very spoilery, where there's, like, a major tragedy that, like, could be said to mirror something in our lives, and someone had warned us going in, like, maybe this will be bad. And I didn't tell Ted what the spoiler was, but I was like, there's something bad that happens in this that I was warned I might be triggered by. And we're watching it, and there's a character who messes up her piano recital that she's worked really hard on, and Ted leans over and is like, is this what you were warned about?
I stand by it. I mean, I knew you couldn't finish watching Grease.
It's true.
Infamously.
I was 13, but still.
Yeah. I have a couple of, like, little things.
Yeah.
And we had some big topics. I love that Taylor agonizes over buying books. I really liked that gifts from Danny feel like they're for her.
Yeah.
Whereas gifts from Lisa feel like they're for someone else, this nebulous, because, like, it's not that they feel like they're for Skitter, because she's not really Skitter, but there is this in-between Taylor as a cape persona, or, like, I can't fully be comfortable in the Undersider, so Lisa's gifts are not for me.
I think there's some of that. I think there's also Lisa's gifts were about making her a different person. Lisa's gifts were about, like, you can have this glow up. And they weren't targeted towards who she actually is. They were targeted towards who she could be. Yeah. So I think there was also a reading of that line that was, these are for who I actually am, whereas Lisa's trying to kind of make me into an image.
That's true. Yeah, more aspirational.
Though it's also true, of course, that she can't be her full self yet with the Undersiders. Yet, until she becomes totally disillusioned, drops her betrayal plan, and eventually confesses everything, and they have to decide if they're going to trust her or not.
It's interesting. Like, I would say it's pretty clear this is not a YA story at this point, having been through Arc 4.
Because of the dissolution of the person?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the intensity of the chapter where she has the concussion and all of that,
I see that, and I raise you
Threat of
Hunger
bodily harm.
Games. I mean...
That's fair, actually.
I don't know that we've seen anything that
Is
would
it worse
actually...
than Hunger Games yet?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. All right, so maybe still potentially in the YA genre, but this realization that sort of like Capes for People too, it does actually feel like a big coming-of-age beat in sort of like growing up and finding your place in the world. And I really love that aspect of Taylor's story. Like, it's a fun... I don't say YA at all in a disparaging sense.
Oh, no,
it's just,
definitely not.
It struck me as like, this is a real classic beat in a like, I'm coming to understand the world in a more grown-up way.
And in a certain sense, like in a publishing context, like having a teenage character makes it very, very hard for your books not to be classified as YA.
Yeah.
Really, the only way to do it for sure is to have explicit sex on the page. Which it sounds like this book is not going to do, I gather from what you've said. So... possibly it could be published as YA if it were going to be published. Yeah.
I mean, that'd be wild. I mean, like, sort of judgy or over-worried parents are not going to make it very far to find the non-YA stuff. So
right. You have to read so much.
Like, honestly, I think that's why people... sort of they got away with Animorphs. It's like, you read the first 5, they're clearly YA, and once you get to the horrors of war stuff, it's like, this is book 25, they're not going to suddenly introduce darker themes to the children, right?
Although, I mean, in book 4, Marco almost gets bitten in half.
I mean, no, that's true. Tobias almost kills himself in book 3.
No, that's right.
It is pretty dark.
Yeah, but they just are colorful and short and have big print.
Very silly.
And so why would any adult worry about them? Yeah. I mean, I do think they're age appropriate for like a middle schooler.
I do too. Yeah. New Wave is also participating.
Oh, I noticed that.
Yeah, so it's a public-private partnership. The hero teams are all in it together. Stepping up. And we got one other little detail of a Bakuda bomb. A crystal turning human into crystal bomb. Not just human into soup. So
that was wild. Alan, Emma's dad, knows someone whose arm got caught in that crystallizing bomb and, turned to glass and had to have surgery, I guess, to remove the glass arm, and now he doesn't have an arm.
I don't think, those things can be undone.
No. But I doubt she has a turning glass back into flesh bomb.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be at the mall when all of the glass gets turned to flesh, to be honest.
Great point. I mean, I'm sure that Panacea could heal the arm, but does she have time?
That is fascinating.
Oh, she absolutely
fascinating. Yeah. Well, but would it be healing, or would it be like...
I'm sure she could
they do the surgery and then regrow
I'm sure she could reconstruct a missing limb. Yeah.
But I wonder if she could do, crystal back to flesh. Or if she would...
I think she'd have to regrow it. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
But I'm sure she could just remove the crystal,
Yeah. Now I'm with you. Now I'm with you. Yeah, I mean... I think we had a lot of predicting in this episode.
Oh yeah, I think I predicted out.
What's coming up.
I guess I could predict in a sort of more immediate sense. It does sound like maybe she's not going to go to school tomorrow because, seems like she might not be ready. And I suspect Danny is extra willing to keep her home now that he knows that Emma's the one who's been tormenting her, and he kind of has an even more intense sense of what's going on for her. So I'm hoping that she gets to hang out with the Undersiders. We get some more Undersiders chapters coming up.
Yeah.
But I think the Emma thing is gonna have to come back soon.
Yeah.
She was smiling like she was planning something evil. Maybe that was just making Taylor slap her.
Oh, I mean, that's actually... Yeah, but that's kind of what I was proposing initially. It's the 5D chess move of, maybe, could I do this?
Yeah.
But you're also thinking she could do it with her power. Yeah.
So, maybe that was all she had planned, but...
One other piece of analysis that just occurred to me. This thing that we're getting... We have a different arc structure. We started with Cape stuff, and then we transitioned back into her more mundane life. And though we're having a Taylor and Emma scene again, it's in a new, unfamiliar territory that, again, has kind of the public around. And so it makes sense to me that it's not like we're getting the, three-peat at school where Emma's bullying her and Taylor finally decides that she's going to strike back. Right. You have everything a little bit off and different, sort of structurally and in the actual brain. Setting, in Taylor's brain. And that instability makes it all the more easier and expected for kind of something different.
That's true.
And in this case, bad to happen.
Speaking of Emma, it occurs to me, we were talking about whether her dad knows anything. Imagine that you see your daughter's former best friend slap her out of nowhere. You're like, whoa, what's going on? Former best friend gets let off in, plastic handcuffs. And your daughter's standing there beaming the fullest smile she's ever had. What the heck are you thinking? You're like, are you happy to have been slapped? Are you happy that your friend did this to you? Are you happy that your friend seems to be disturbed? Like, are you happy to see her practically arrested? Like,
well,
what?
Well, okay, so yeah, why? Just put it into words. Why is Emma reacting that way?
Oh, I mean, Emma's thrilled that Taylor showed herself to be, quote unquote, bad or unhinged, and Taylor got into trouble, and she gets to look like the victim, and she gets this positive attention from a case. Like, this is all working in her favor.
Right. She sees it as clearly as you do, and she's just so happy to be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Like, that she's working the refs.
But also, she's not actually acting very well in that moment. Come to think of it,
like you would expect her to be like,
you expect her to be like,
playing it up.
Poor Taylor really seems to be like she is not
like
doing
a holier than thou type response.
Like, oh, I'm so worried and sad for her. Like, this is why we don't hang out anymore. She's just gotten weird. Like, seeming
the fact
happy
that she's
about
like,
it.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
it's
like,
kind of telling.
Which makes me think her dad probably does know that, like, not everything is great in his daughter's personality right now.
Yeah.
I bet that he's willing to brush it off as, like, teenagers go through phases. Sometimes they're a little mean. It's just what happens. She'll grow out of it. But in fact, she's a terrible person. And I bet he sees at least a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And then you have Danny seeing Taylor so clearly. And as clearly as she'll let him. And just trusting her so much.
He's great.
He's so great. And Taylor's also great. And this is why they're going to be really good allies.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. Do we have any cape names?
No new cape names.
Okay.
But I could read to you the next.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
5 words?
Yeah.
Sentence? 5 words?
Let's do the top line.
Top line as in of my phone?
Yeah. Usually they're only like 5 or 7 words in mine, but...
A huge pet peeve of mine. Being asked to...
Ooh. A huge pet peeve of mine. Being asked to... walk behind slow people on the sidewalk. No, that's just the
already
only pet
repeating
peeve.
himself.
I did appreciate how much context he gave us on Shadow Stalker, even though, like, I obviously remembered everything about her, but some people might have been reading less attentively and not listening to their old podcasts about it. A huge pet peeve of mine, being asked to show up somewhere without being told why.
Ooh, where's she have to show up without being told why?
The Undersiders are meeting somewhere, and she doesn't know what they're meeting to do.
Being out of the loop, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that would be a pet peeve of hers. That doesn't quite ring true, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll find out.
Next time.
On Inchworm. Beep, 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 beep. Breaking. We're re-recording, adding an addendum to the end of the episode. Take it away, Jenny.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know this was a special addendum. All right, so Ted and I were just talking about the ACAB thing and how if that phrase had existed at the time that this was being written, this story would be about Taylor coming to realize that it is true, that all capes are bastards, because capes basically have too much power, and too much power just kind of makes you a bastard. And I think that this story, at least in large part, is going to be about Taylor's efforts to resist her own bastardization. Because she also has a lot of power. And she's going to have a lot of temptations to use it for bad things. And I predict that, well, she may make decisions that are complicated, are compromising. I think she will resist. I think that she's going to rise above this.
Yeah.
She will. Yeah. She will defeat her power in a way.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't, I think, properly respond to everything you said in your rant at the opener of the episode. In part because it was kind of analysis and kind of a prediction, and I don't want to tell you if the prediction is true or not. But I really think you're onto something, and I think that superhero stories are inherently about people who have more power than other types of people.
Yeah.
And so that makes ACAB a really interesting theme that, whether it's dealt with explicitly or not, is inherently part of the genre.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, Spider-Man really addresses that maybe a little obliquely with the, like, with great power comes great responsibility thing, where it's like, okay, you have this power that you could use for evil, but you have great responsibility, you have to use it well, and Spider-Man is being sort of an exceptional person who does that.
yeah.
And this work is saying basically, like, no, that's not how it would go normally.
Yeah.
Maybe there are people who are able to rise above that. It seems like Panacea is trying, but it's really taking a toll on her.
Panacea is a great call out to what I was about to say, which is we've got a new Superman out, and like Superman is the original fantasy of like, what if a cop wasn't a bastard, right? Like that's kind of his whole deal. Is like he's the most powerful dude, and he happens to be really good, and that's unusual, right? Like that's in response to what we know about how the world really works, right? And so, of course, Worm is coming at like generations later, where it's like we're interested in exploring kind of the like in this era of stories, the seedier underbelly of what's behind this fantasy of powerful people.
Yeah. I will also say, when we were talking about Panacea's sort of challenges, Amy's challenges when she was talking to Gallant, we were talking about how much easier she would have it as a bad guy, because she wouldn't feel like she had to be solving the world's problems every single second. So there's one angle on the, power corrupts thing, just like people kind of want to do bad things and get their own advantage, so when they have a lot of power, they will. And there's the other side of it, where if you have Superman or Panacea levels of power, where really for the good of the world, you should be helping every single second, and every second you spend on yourself is like lives lost, then actually being good is not tenable. And being a quote-unquote bad guy, like, is maybe, well, in this case, being actually a bad guy is maybe the only way to psychological stability.
Yeah.
So anyway, just some extra closing thoughts. I know I'm going to have a lot more to say on this theme as we go along.
Well, it's good. It's fun to take such a, Taylor slaps Emma at the mall chapter and see the...
this is a microcosm of everything, Ted.
Exactly. See
this slap. The whole novel is contained in this slap.
Yeah.
It slaps.
It slaps. Worm slaps. That's our headline. All right. Until next time on Inchworm. Unless we have another addendum. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildvote. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.